104.5, the Team ESPN Radio. Now, joining us now, you hear him right after us every weeknight that Albany doesn't get in his way because they're rude. Spain and Fitz, Jason Fitz with us. All right, let's talk about the thing that I've been harping on today, Fitz. Do you think Tom Brady is really hurt, or is this a typical Patriot scam?
I think he's like, hangnail hurt maybe. It's that it's bothering me a little. Like, it'd be enough to make me whine, but no. I mean, the chance that Tom Brady is not playing in this game, I think, is a solid 0, and the chance that it truly affects him, I just can't see it. I cannot see it.
Do you see any scenario where Jacksonville will actually, in your mind, give them a real game?
Okay, so here's the thing. I want to say no to this because it's the Patriots. But I believe top to bottom, the Steelers' offense particularly is a better offense than the Patriots. So there's a part of me that's looking at it and saying, why not? I mean, if you take just Blake Bortles out of the equation, what's the answer to that question? If it's any other quarterback, we look at it and say, we're raised on this defense wins championships. Well, the Jacksonville defense is good enough to do that. So, I think Jacksonville can give them a game. I just can't get past the Blake Bortles thing. It's like I've got a Bortles bias.
On the other side, the other matchup, the NFC, it's Case Keenum versus Nick Foles. And I know SportsCenter and other ESPN outlets have talked about how we've arrived at this spot. Foles versus Keenum. Does one team have an advantage over the other at that quarterback spot?
Oh, yeah. This is just bad, right? I mean, I met Case at a Super Bowl party before I was even in sports. I met Case a few years ago at a Super Bowl party, and I'm that guy that always makes sure to say I'm 5'9.5". Like when you're 5'9", you want that extra half inch right, so that people realize like you're a big boy. And I'm taller than Case. I don't care what they list him at. Like I looked at him, I met him, I looked at my buddy and said, "That's a nice guy," and he's like, "Yeah, that's Case Keenum." I thought, no, there's no way. He's a wee little man playing quarterback in the NFL, but he's getting it done. I just don't know how he's getting it done. The interesting part of this is that at least Nick Foles is just a stopgap that everybody can say, hey, whoops, our bad, this was an accident. If Case Keenum wins this game, heck, even if he doesn't, I don't think the Vikings can move past this quarterback-wise. They're going to have to franchise Case Keenum and give him another shot. You can't just optics alone say if your guy gets you to the NFC Championship game, you can't just throw him out with the bathwater the next year. So not only is Case Keenum here, he's going to be here next year.
Jason Fitz with us right now. You hear him every weeknight right after us, Spain and Fitz. So Fitz, I love that you bring that up because I think the Vikings might be the perfect example of if you've got 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks, and they have 3. Like, what are they going to do? Bradford, Case Keenum, and Bridgewater all look like they're going to be ready to walk after this year.
I think they're going to have to franchise Case because, frankly, his numbers have been good this year, and he's earned it. He's going to get that year. And then when it comes to the other 2, I can't see anybody making a big offer for Bridgewater, and they seem to have a real connection with him. I wouldn't be surprised if Bridgewater sort of lightly tests the market, but they come up with some sort of incentive-related thing to keep him, which leaves Bradford as the odd man out. And it's not an ideal situation because I think they're going to end up overpaying for like how many fans right now listening in general would wake up excited on the opening day of free agency if their favorite team gave a mega deal to any of those 3 quarterbacks. Like this is just one of those situations. You don't feel good about any of it.
So on the other side, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're the underdog again at home. They're embracing that underdog role, though. The dog masks are coming out. Can that type of feel, the underdog mentality, be enough for Philly to pull off this victory?
I think Minnesota's the better team, but I think what we saw last week, especially in Jacksonville, going back there, was the extra edge matters. And it's funny, I was having a debate with somebody, one of my buddies, that was saying, hey, if you're playing in a championship game and you need an extra edge, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that's something we manufacture. And we just saw that's not true. I mean, for Jacksonville, it meant something that they were being disrespected. I think Philadelphia has taken that same mindset. So that's a lot to ask the Vikings to overcome, sort of the mindset, the underdog thing, and then the way they've gelled together. I think ultimately the Vikings are the better team, but I do think that there's some sort of a mindset for the Eagles that will give them an extra push. I still think the Vikings win the game, though. I think we are destined for our first ever home team in the Super Bowl.
That would be so awesome. Jason Fitz with us right now. Of course, if you just keep listening after this show, you'll hear him again. Spain and Fitz right here on 104.5 The Team.
Yeah, and it's a fairly new show here on 104.5 The Team. Take us through the process. I don't know if it's because you're both 5'9.5" or you've actually known each other. How did this show come together, and what can fans in the Capital Region expect from the show?
Well, I mean, Sarah and I have gotten to know each other over the last year that I've been with ESPN, just, as you get to meet people. And I filled in a lot over the summer and started doing, last summer, started doing a lot of fill-in work for Jalen and Jacoby. And then they had me sitting in sometimes when Izzy was out. So Sarah and I worked together a little bit, and we started hanging out, and we had a friendship. And so I think what happened at the ESPN side is sometimes they find people that they say, hey, we believe in these people. What can we try to do to bring some cool people together? And so they came to us a couple of months ago and said, hey, we're thinking about teaming you two. How would you feel about it? And we were both excited. So what you can expect, I mean, there's always a fine line. Like Sarah's always been really passionate about, issues and social stuff and important, heavy things. And frankly, that's never been my thing. So I think part of what they were excited about in teaming us is that I'm the guy that looks at sports talk as great entertainment, and she looks at sports talk as a great opportunity to sort of like use a microphone to educate and make the world better. And then at the same time, she's one of the goofiest, funniest people I know. So I think it's a nice balance. This week alone, we've been faced with some tough issues that we've talked about, with the Michigan State and U.S. Olympic stuff. But at the same time, we're able to turn around and joke around a lot and tease each other a lot. She does not ever let me forget that I'm the rookie in all of this, and that she's far more athletic than I'll ever be. So it's fun. It's a fun process.
I was going to say, Fitz, like we've had a couple opportunities to talk to Sarah, and the people know her for the issues, but she is relentless when it comes to busting on you. Like, you ever just go no mas and feedle in the corner?
Oh, no. I grew up a fat kid that played the violin, so she's got to get harder than this, with Sarah, too, a lot of people don't realize that for a long time in life, like, her goal was to be on Saturday Night Live and to be in comedy. And so she's a genuinely hysterical person that's really good at that. So I think it's fun. Like, I like the fact that she's busting on me means that, that she's having a good time, and I'm always good with that.
One of the segments I'm looking forward to, for those that may not know, you have a big-time music background. The Fiddle Me This segment that's going to be on the way. Are you nervous? Are you excited? What can we expect from that in the next few weeks?
Well, I think it's fun, and it's been one of those things. When I first started, for me, I was on the road for a long time as a musician, and, I toured with the band Perry for years and had a really great run there, and I've been a musician my whole life. And I started a podcast because I realized one day when we were gone 300 days in the year on tour that I'm good at what I do, but I don't love what I do anymore in music. And so my wife said, if I asked 100 of your friends what you really care about, what's the answer? I said, sports. It's all I've ever really cared about. So she said, go find a way to talk about sports. So I started a podcast, and that's how my whole career started. I mean, it's sort of a grassroots, boots up process for me. So when I first got to ESPN and I first hit whatever the perceived big time is, I was so worried about, I don't want to be a musician talking about sports, that I didn't embrace it. I think over the course of the year that I've been with the company, I sort of learned some comfortableness with it. That's not really a word, but got comfortable with it. Let's say it that way. And now I really embrace it. Like, I think it's fun. And anybody that listens to a show I'm on knows that I like to tie this stuff back anyway. So we're just going to, let people ask questions and kind of, reveal whatever secrets we can that people want to know about life on the road, or tell them the dirty truth, which is really, it's not all that exciting. It's just sort of, it's a really difficult job. But, that's far less enticing. But it'll be fun.
Fitz, I'm sitting here the whole time, and I'm looking at a picture of you, and I just realized I've met you a handful of times. I used to work on our country station, WGNA, and we hung out with you guys, the band Perry, down in Nashville once. I think you've been through the studio, you guys. Like I've met you a handful of times, and I didn't even realize I was talking to you.
No, that's awesome, and that's happened. It happens more often than you think that people say, "Oh my, wait a minute, oh no, we've met." Yeah, it was a wild run. I spent the last 20 years in the music business, and I toured with the Perrys for the last basic 6 until I left. And my last show was August 27th of 2016, and 2 days later I did my first ever TV show with ESPN. So
that's awesome.
It was just one of those. I had and people always ask me how it accomplishes it. This is reckless, I know, but when they came in, and I'd been working to try and get them to care, and when they came in and offered me a TV show, it was, you may only get one show, and you may never, we may not keep you. It may not work. And so I quit the band with no idea how I was going to pay my bills or how my wife and I were going to support ourselves. And I said, hey, when ESPN offers you a show, if you really want to do this, you do it. So that was my magic jump. So I look back now and say, my God, I'm crazy. But
Spain and Fitz coming up right after us tonight. Jason Fitz, man, thanks for the time. It's cool to catch up with you.
Well, I appreciate it, and we'll have to catch up again. So I'm all in.